Today's video is proudly brought to you by our supporters on Coffee. If you are able to, feel free to check out the link in the description and go buy us a coffee. Because of you guys, we were able to get that slightly old and knackered floor completely redone into this absolute beautiful wonder that we have today. Just we're on the subject of thanking, I just want to say a big thank you to Roz, who helped us find all of the timber to produce the project, and to Scotty, who helped me very tirelessly lay the thing and get it all secure on the floor. You may notice on our coffee link we now have a new goal, which is to get the pool table fully restored. New cushions, new felt, and fully levelled, ready for when you guys return. After many days of research, I've actually managed to find all the bits we need at a lot lesser price. So now our goal for that is only £100 and not the 250 it was before. So we're actually 20% of the way there already. So if you've got the ability to, please go and check us out on Coffee and buy us a coffee, because every penny does help. You can also check out our Deliveroo, because buying tasty food and booze off us also helps a lot. It helps us pay the bills. Now, on to today's video. And now, on to this week's subject matter. So we're going back to the root of history lessons in our virtual pub project today. And today we're going to be looking at the Plague. No, not that one. You get out of here. No, we're talking about the Black Plague, Bubonic Plague, all those during the medieval period plagues. Because although them being quite a nasty thing, they had quite an interesting effect on pubs. So going back to the times of the plague, you remember this is a time where there's very little medical science, very little in the form of knowledge of how the plague worked. We say today that it was spread by rats, but that even today they argue about it and say, well, was it really? There's a bit of evidence that suggests that maybe it wasn't spread by rats. It's just that the thing that was noticed a lot of the time was when the rats were in season, so to speak, so there's more rats running around because the tiny pitter-patter of tiny rat babies was rocking around, the plague seemed to come on harder. So it could just be a case of, well, it was seasonal. I'm not going into that in this video, it's just a fun little side bit of information. So what's the plague got to do with pubs? So how did pubs become an important thing during the plague? Well, prior to plague, pubs were known as public houses. You've heard me talk about this several times in previous other videos. Pubs were basically someone's house, either a brewer or a local landowner or whatever would decide, I have some tasty beer and I'm going to sell it. And he would just open his house up to the public, and people would come in and just have a beer. And that was basically the concept of it. It was any place where you could gather and drink beer was normally a house, and it was a public house. And then the plague came along. The plague was absolutely catastrophic, and we don't really seem to appreciate just how bad it was. So the average death rate in the population, this is a decrease in population, not just how many people were infected, this is a decrease in population due to death because of the plague, was around the 50 to 60% mark, which is huge. Like, entire villages were completely wiped out. Okay, some villages, nothing ever happened, but there's stories in the medieval period of entire villages becoming ghost towns because literally everyone there has passed away from plague. It is a huge thing that very much decreased the population of the country on a whole. If I'm remembering my facts right, please don't slaughter me in the comments if I'm not. The entire population decreased from World War II, something that we in modern days consider to be one of the worst things that's happened in recent memory, did a maximum population decrease of about 5%. So, we all know World War II was a horrible thing but less people died in that than died in the medieval period due to plague. That is just an idea of the impact that this had on societies, on villages, and whatever. So where does this leave your pubs? Well, your public houses are, carrying on as they always did, selling their beer, making their beer, and selling whatever they got left. Landowners who are making beer for their hard-working workers that they're giving as part of their wage, got a bit left over, we'll open the public house and we'll sell some to whoever. We get to a point where the population of Europe is suddenly a lot smaller. So where it didn't matter if you paid your peasant half tuppence a day for 6 weeks' work, and if he didn't want to do it, you just got someone else, suddenly there were worker shortages. And the local people went, well, we can just hold out and get more money. And that's exactly what happened. Wages sort of increased a bit because there's a worker shortage. You had to get your workers to work your farms, to look after your livestock. So the knobs on the top started paying a little bit more. And suddenly people started having a little bit more, not a lot. We're not talking huge sums of money here, but suddenly the working classes, so to speak, peasants, had a little bit more money to go. And as a result, they wanted to obviously spend that money on recreational fun. The pub. But all of a sudden they didn't want, they had a bit of money, so it didn't matter. They're going to go a little explore and maybe try some of the other pubs. And if I like this one over that one, well, I'll go to that one instead. And this attitude of more money meant that the publicans, the public house owner, suddenly had to up his game. Because he's 60% of the population in a worst case scenario has just been wiped out, with 60% of your customers suddenly gone. Okay, you're going to charge a bit more for your beer now because it's a bit more expensive, but people want a service when you charge more. You're charging a bit more for the same product, so to speak. People want a bit more service from you. So publicans sort of went, well, instead of just having the old barn or the old house that people are coming in, let's put some money into this and invest it, and let's have maybe a bar where we can have all the beer behind, and people can come to that and get a drink, and maybe we'll put some seating over here, which is quite nice. And we'll have a little burner there, and slowly we start getting what the medieval period was known as a tavern, but what we would recognise today as a pub. So from that sort of disaster of the plague, we wind up getting what we know today as pubs. There you go. As I always say in these videos, there is a lot more information to this sort of thing than that, but I'm trying to condense this in under 10 minutes and not talk to you for 6 hours about it. So there is that. I hope you enjoyed that. As always, Coffee and Deliveroo, check us out, and we will see you tomorrow. Enjoy.